lovelies, it's Dawnny P here and welcome to my YouTube channel and to my video today. Hope everybody's safe and well. I haven't done a video for an embarrassingly long time, so I apologise for that. Things have been a little bit up the wall, but I've posted a couple of cards on Facebook yesterday and today, and I've had some lovely comments, so thank you so much for that. It does really mean a lot to me. And a lady's asked about how I go about colouring these images, so I'm going to sort of go through that today. So I'll just show you the cards in case you've not seen them. So this one is the first one. I've used the same image for both, and this is the stamp here, but I'll show you that in a second. This one's been coloured with Copics, and I've used a bit of glossy accents on the hearts. You get little hearts with it, which I'll show you in a sec. So I created a border. So the border and the hearts he's holding, they've had a bit of glossy accents over the top. Just used a white gel pen on there, and I've surrounded the image with a bit of clear glitter. So that was the first one. I'm going to move it in case I spill any water on it, because I'd be very upset. This is the second card. And this one's been done with watercolour pencils. So you can see that they do look a bit different. If I put them side by side, you can sort of see they do. Can you see that? They do look a little bit different. But this is, it's such an easy technique, especially if you're a little bit nervous about, you know, using your alcohol pens and you've got watercolour pencils. Get them out and have a play. So we've stamped him again, and we've just created a sort of circular border, if you will. The paper is Sue Wilson's 8x8 spots and stripes, and I've added some turquoise cosmic shimmer glitter there and on his little patches of his hat. So this is the one we're going to do. So what do we need? Okay, we need the stamp, obviously, and this is the stamp. He's gorgeous. So you're going to get, let's put him against there. Can you see that? So you're going to get your main image, you're going to get a single heart, and you're going to get these two little hearts. They're brilliant for doing your backgrounds. As you saw on those, I've done borders with them, and you get your gnome wishes sentiment as well. So this is a Woodware stamp, and the code is FRM027. So this one has been designed by francoiseread, who is super talented. If only I could draw half as good. Right, so there's little Norman. He's out the way. We call him Norman. I've used some watercolour. This is Creative Expressions Watercolour card. And because I'm using watercolour pencils, I've used a pigment ink to stamp. And this is Versafine Clair Nocturne. This is my sort of go-to ink. As you can see, it's well used, filthy. So that's what I've used. I've used my stamping platform. And the reason that I've done that, I use it a lot, but particularly if I'm using watercolour card, because sometimes when you put your first impression down, because there's a texture on the card, it's easy for it to sort of miss little bits. So with the platform, you can then just re-ink and go back down onto your paper again, and onto your card rather, and it's in the same place. Okay, so that's that. But I'm going to move these, give myself a bit of room. So I think we're ready to start. So I went ahead and stamped the image, and the reason I did this was when I was stamping it, there's a spring or something on this table, and each time I tapped the stamp with the ink pad, it made a horrendous noise. Anyway, so I've gone ahead and stamped it already. So I've got my stamped image, I've got a scrap of watercolour card to the side, I've got my paintbrush, I've got some water, I've got some kitchen roll, I've got my pencils. So the pencils I'm using are a Derwent pencil Inktense, but as I say, anything that you've got will work fine for this. Let's make sure I'm in the middle so you can see what I'm doing. So this is purely a personal thing, but I like to do the skin tones first. Now, the reason I keep a little scrap of watercolour card at the side, and I've done this for years, I don't even know how it started really, but what I tend to do is I'll just check the colours before I actually commit them to the image. And you can always, let's move this before I drip all over, you can always use this to check the colouring. That's actually a little bit, it's actually a little bit yellow. Is this mustard? Yes, I don't think we want them to have yellow hands, do we? That's better. So I'm using a sort of tanny colour and a browny colour. So the first thing I'm going to do, after I've waffled on, make a start, I'm going to lay some colour down. We'll do his nose first. And there's several ways you can do this. I'll do his hands differently just to show you the difference. But the first one is literally just add your colour like so. And then I want to put a little bit of shading. You don't have to, but if you do, this is, I'll just put it at the top like so. Okay. And then I'm going to take my pencil or paintbrush even, and starting at the bottom where it's lighter, in sort of circular motions. Those tend to take too much water off. I'm just going to activate the colours I've put down. Now if it comes off like it's just done, don't panic, because the other way you can do it, you can scribble onto your watercolour card and you can treat it as a palette, and you can pick that up. You can add it that way. Okay, so whichever way works best for you is the easiest way for you to do it. Okay, so there's his little nose done. So for his hands, I'm going to use the palette method again. So I've scribbled myself some pencil on there, and I'm just going to go in and build up that colour. Whilst that's drying, I'll go to the little hand. Okay, and then I shall add a little bit of shading down his cuff. Just allow the pencil, the ink from the pencil, to run in to the edges. We've not really put very much on that, have we? I think we need to add a bit more. There we go. That's better. Happy with that now. So again, it's just adding simple, just simply picking up your colour and dotting it down. Now we can make that darker, but I'll need to leave it to dry a little bit first, because if I put this on, I'll show you, if I put this on now, it tends to grab that a little bit too much. The other thing you can do actually is pick up the colour from the tip of your pencil and just dot it on. So it's a sort of blending as you go. That makes sense. So you've got lots of options open to you as to how you can apply your pencils. So there we go. Right, so whilst that's drying, come on, pick up, that's it. I'm going to leave that to dry. So we're going to leave those to dry now. I'm not happy about that little bit on his hand. Hold on a tick. There we go. Right, so we've done that. Now we're going to move on to, we'll do his trousers next. So on the actual card, I did these in green. So I'm going to do them in green again so I can replicate the card. And again, I've got a light green and a dark green. So I'm going to add that dark green straight onto here, like so. And then add my shading. And I think the thing to think about, when you've got an image, people worry about shading. a lot of the time the artist will give you huge clues, and so Francoise has here. So you can see where she's put the dots, that's probably the area where we're going to concentrate on. Okay, so I'm going to go in there, and then I will move my pencils to stop them rolling round, and a little bit of water on my brush, starting at the top, working into the dark, like so. Now you'll notice that the colour of that has changed, because they're basically like paints. So if you put red and yellow pencils together, you're going to get orange. So that's good. That's good, because you can add to your collection of colours. You can make more colours out of what you've got. So a basic set will do you quite a while. So I'm just going to go scribble some of this down and pick it up and just go over that again. And you're basically going to go over and over until you're happy with what you've done. The other thing you'll have noticed is that I'm letting each area dry before I sort of go on to the next. So I'm going to come back to that in a second, because I do want that a little bit darker than it is. So I just want to let it dry a weeny bit. And I will go now on to, should we do this? We'll do the heart in the middle. Let's do the heart in the middle, because they're dry now. So again, 2 reds. I've used quite a vibrant red, which I'll show you when that goes down. It's like a proper, I don't know, like a proper lipstick red. Okay, I'm just going to add that colour, and then I'm going to add, it's almost like a burgundy here on the top bit. Taking my brush, a little bit of water, starting at the bottom and working towards the dark. And the reason I do it that way is if you start at the dark bit, you might drag the dark into areas of the light that you don't want. That makes sense. Oh, there's another tractor going by. Oh, the joys of living in the country. Okay. Now, there we go. So I've chosen a good time to do this video today when all the world and his wife are going past. I'm going to lighten that in the centre by adding some water onto my brush and lifting the, oops, I've got them into his hand now, lifting the colour off like so. I call it wipe and swipe. So wipe, swipe and wipe. And I'll come back to that in a minute, because I'm going to want to add a little bit more dark around the top, like so. And then let's go from the bottom. There we go. So I've just left a small area in the centre, so it sort of probably just looks like the light's coming off of it. You don't have to do that. You can just colour it straight without any shading if you don't want to go to the bother of that. While I've got the reds out, I think I'll do his little shoes now while that's drying. And I might come back to that because it's looking, can you see, if I lift that up, can you see there's sort of harsh lines? Actually, I don't really like harsh lines, so I'll have to come back and tidy that up. That's his shoes again. So down goes the pencil and the shading in these areas. Whoops, camera's shaking about, sorry. Like so. And again, I'm going to add the water and activate the ink from the pencil. There we go. There's one. And here's the other. I'll tell you another little tip as well, which you might find helpful. You'll find when you're colouring that some angles suit you better than others. So keep turning your card, and if you keep turning your card, you'll always be at that angle that suits you, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's his little shoes. Okay, well, I've got a little bit of that on there. I just want to go over that. That's a bit better. You see how those lines have just softened? Okay. Now we will do his beard. No, we won't. No, we won't. Let's do his hat patches. I'm going to use blue for those. I'm so indecisive, you know. You've probably noticed. And I'm going to use two blues for this. Again, a light blue and a... None of them are very dark, but one's quite bright and the other one's less bright, if that makes sense. A bit more of a navy tone, if that makes sense. Like so. There we go. And you know what? You don't have to be the best colourist in the world when you're using these to achieve a good result. They're so forgiving. Let's do that and then get that dark on there. Actually, I just keep using the pad. This kitchen roll. It's quite wet now, so I can wipe off any residual ink that's gone on my paintbrush. Okay, and then we'll do the second one. He's so nice to colour. He really is, because they're quite big spaces, you know, the areas on the image are quite large, so you can really sort of get stuck into them. Okay, let's just drag a bit of colour down there and take a bit of colour off there just to give it a little bit of texture. There we go. Okay, there's his hat done. Okay, so you can see he's not really taking that long. Now I'm going to move on to his beard while that's drying. Obvious reasons. If I go putting more colours, they might sort of bleed into each other. You could heat dry them in between, heat set them, but I'm not. I prefer to sort of leave them to dry by themselves. Okay, so I'm going to use a grey. This is a charcoal grey. I'll scribble it and you can see on here it's actually quite dark, so I'm going to have to be really careful where I put this. So literally just a tiny bit under the rim of his hat, like so. We'll do that bit first. And just picking that ink up, little circular motions again, and bringing it down. So I'm really just after a shadow, really. I made a right mess the first time I did this, and I tried to put too much, because I don't have many grey pencils, so I tried to sort of colour the whole beard, and I found, for me, it seemed to look better if I just added little bits of grey here and there. Okay, so that's that. Now the other areas are here, so tiny little bit. You can always add, but you can't take away. And then here underneath, like so. I'm going to turn it upside down and do these here, around here. I'll lift this up so you can see how little pencil I'm putting on. If you can see that, it's not very much at all, because I don't want to swamp the image with a load of dark grey. I just want to create some shadows. Like so. Just softening these lines now. Now, and if you can see, I've actually created a really harsh line on that, so I'm just going to go over again with a clean brush and soften it. There we go. And let's just drag a bit more colour down there now. Okay, so that's his beard. If you wanted that darker, you can actually go in again and once it's dry and add some more. But I'm not going to push my luck with that. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Okay, so we've just got his little hat to do now. So I did it in green, and I'm going to take my green again. And excuse me while I just grab a drink of water. Okay, so same again. Now this is quite a big area, so I find it easier, for me anyway, to work in small areas rather than trying to do the whole hat at once. So I'm going to sort of do up this side first, light first, as we've done, and a little bit dark in there. Have I got the right one here? No, I've picked the wrong colour up. I knew that didn't look right. Silly Billy. And just go up there like so. Pick that darker colour up and bring it into the lighter areas like so. Okay, and then we'll carry on around here. Like so. You can see how mixing the two greens make you get that lovely, I don't know, is it like a pea green? It's nice anyway. I like it. Whatever the colour is. So I'm quite safe to go near these blue patches because they have actually dried. But if they were still wet, there's a danger that this might seep into there. And of course, if you heat emboss, you're not going to get that, are you? Because you've got that sort of barrier. Okay, right. Let's do this little bit now. Ooh, camera's going again. Apologies. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the edge and I'm going to put the darker green over it. And get that colour, loosen it off and mix it in. Okay, I've just got this last bit to do now. Got this corner, and I'm going to add that. On here. Okay. He's looking good, Norman. So I want to put a little bit of dark green on my scrap of card and pick it up this way so that I can have a bit more control about where that darker colour is going, like so. Blend it. Let's put some a bit more depth around here. Now, if I wanted to create a lighter, if you can see on the card I did, can you see there's like a light patch here? So the way I did that was like I did before, swipe and wipe. So swipe with a clean brush, wipe the colour off. Swipe, swipe and wipe. And eventually, if you're going to do this, it's probably best. I might have let it dry a little bit too much. Let's wet it. If you work at it, there it's going, it's lifting. So that's a way of adding a little bit of contrast to your colours. Between your colours, rather. Okay, the only other thing I haven't done is shoes. What colour did I do? Oh, I did those in blue. They're just a little bit of blue pencil because I added glitter to mine. I wanted to give him some glittery, I don't know why really, some glittery cells to his shoes. Right, we are nearly done. So the only other thing I want to do now is ground him because I don't want him floating in mid-air. So for this, I'm going to use a grey. And again, less is more with this. So to start off, just a thin line underneath him, like so, just like that. And then let's bring this out. Okay, let that dry before I make a decision on whether I need any more. And the other thing I like to do, which I'll show you again on the original card, and it's hard to see, but can you see there's a sort of wash of grey all the way around him? I've done that on that one, and on the original, the Copics one, can you see I've put a lot, I've done the same with grey, and I've also added a line with a quickie glue pen, some clear glitter. So I'll give you a little tip. If you've gone out the lines a little bit and you go around the outline with glitter, no one's ever going to know. I'm not saying I've done it, but you can draw your own conclusions. Right, so I'm now going to go around the edge of my... Do you know what? I'm not actually. I'm going to pick it up off the palette and I'm going to go round because I just want the tiniest amount of grey going around the image. You don't really see the full effect of this until it's completely dry. So you're aiming for the effect you want is, you don't want to see it. You don't want it to be the first thing you notice. but you'd notice if it wasn't there. Does that make sense? What it does is it creates a shadow behind your image and pushes the image forward. So I think it just finishes off your images really nicely. But take your time with this bit because you've done a lot of work and you don't want to mess it up at this point. Does it say if you do? Just add a line of glitter. Honestly, you're going to be looking at my cards now, and every card where there's a line of glitter, you'll know why. You'll probably think, oh, she's done it on that one. There we go, just around the outsides. Come on. Around the outsides, like so. So you can see it, but when it's completely dry, you'll get a better effect if that makes sense. And if it's not as dark as you want, you can always go round again until you're happy. Okay, so there's Norman all coloured in. So you can see it's quite easy. So we'll just recap. Put your two colours down. If you get your pencils onto your image, light and a contrasting colour, a darker colour. Start with your light and work into your dark. If you want to highlight anything, wet your brush, clean brush, swipe it across the image and wipe and repeat until you've got that pale patch. Use a scrap of card as a palette and you can mix your colours. So you could actually mix your own. I'll show you with this. You can mix your own colours on here. So if I put those two together and mix them, I've got another shade of green. Okay, so that's a tip for you as well. Turn your work as you're going, and above all, have fun and enjoy what you're doing, because it's just takes you into a different zone, I think. If there's any questions, pop them in the comments below, or you can email me, message me. I'll always do my very, very best to answer any queries that you've got, and I hope that you found that helpful. And I'll be back again with another one. I promise I won't leave it this long again. Take care and see you soon, and stay safe and well. Bye.